Well, hello. Hello. Welcome. How's the sound? Are we okay with the audio? How is the audio? I think it would be okay. Why am I not hearing an echo? Oh, you're expecting a winter storm in Michigan. Very nice. I just need a quick sound check before we get started. Can everybody hear me? Oh, goody, goody, goody. Well, I am back in beautiful Portland. As you can see, I have placed my shirt inside out. That is typical of me. So this is interesting. Excuse me while I go on camera and take my clothing off. All right. I just decided to get rid of the undershirt. How is everybody? Lake incident. There was a lake incident? Oh my God, am I missing all the news? Oh, my goodness, my hair. I just got out of the shower, people. I don't blow dry. I know some people do. I think it's a waste of time, energy. I can't stand the sound, and I just cannot. I don't have the patience to sit there and dry my hair. Who here is like me? You just don't have time for that. Never mind that it's not good for your hair. Oh my goodness. So, talk to me, people. How are you? How was your Christmas? How was your Hanukkah? How was your Kwanzaa? Anything else you could be celebrating? I don't know. But gosh darn it, I hope it was good. Yeah? Blow drying and I like women that spend a tremendous amount of time on all of that. God bless you. God bless you. That's all I got to say. God bless you. And this is the best you're going to get, folks, from me. Is shower and makeup. That's what you got from me. Shower and makeup. Yes, I can see. It'll dry. I always wait. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta hop in a shower. I gotta go live at 11, and then 10:30. I hop in the shower. I'm like, my hair's gonna be wet. It's okay. It's almost dry. It's getting there. Yeah. So what did I do for the Christmas break? Well, I finished Hanukkah. I'm very proud of myself. I do try to do some mitzvot. I lit candles for all 8 days. I'm very proud of myself because usually I tuck her out after day 3 or 4 and say, I can't be bothered. You got to be consistent. You got to light those candles if you want a miracle. You got to, if you're trying to put out good vibes, 8 days. But a lot of people, let's be honest, my fellow Jewish people, come on, do you really stick to the whole 8 days? Who here confess? You start off strong and then you whittle out. Which Jewish people here will confess to that? I don't know. No, I have always completed the lighting of all 8 days. I'm impressed. What can I tell you? I'm impressed. Yeah, so I went to see my friend Darlene Christopher, who is a tarot reader and astrologer out of Seattle, Washington. Check out her work if you want a really great astrologer and remote viewer and tarot reader, and you'd like to try something different. Then I definitely recommend Darlene Christopher. Christopher's Lamps. Check her out. You can Google it. So I was with her, and I am a godmother to her children. So of course I had to do what every godmother does. I cooked and cooked and cooked. And we had turkey and giblet gravy and all of that nice stuff. So it was very, very nice. Yeah, and then I took the train up from Portland to Seattle, was there for about 4 days, and then came back yesterday. So I missed, the Saturday private salon that we do with members, so, yeah. But other than that, everything was there something that I forgot? I don't think there was anything I forgot. No, I think I got to everything I was it's not on the news about the lake. Oh, what happened on the lake? Something happened on a lake? Interesting. Well, I wanted to just let everybody know, in case you didn't, that we have a new book of the month. As many of you know, Chuck and I have a book club. It's called Chuck and Whimsy's Book Club or Taco Tuesday's Book Club. And we have chosen our selection for the month of January. Well, I guess till the end of January. It started late December. It was our Christmas January read, The Trouble with the Truth. I thought it was a good one as we roll into 2026. It is the autobiography of Elizabeth Kelly Stephenson about her experiences of, fantasy versus reality. Sometimes we can tell ourselves stories, right? A lot of religion is based on nice stories we can live with rather than unpleasant truths, right? So, but I tend to believe that real spirituality is about seeing things as they are, not as we would wish them to be, right? So sometimes that can be difficult. It can be very, very difficult challenge for us to see things as they are and not as we would wish them to be, particularly when it comes to people that we rely on, like spouses, wives, husbands, partners, children. We will tell ourselves lies, and then people say, "Well, why did you lie about that? Why didn't you must have known they were cheating or stealing or whatever." Because if we had come to the truth of our lives, we would have been devastated. So we keep the lie going because it's too painful to know the truth, right? Anybody ever been in a situation like that and then you get angry at yourself for being in denial? That was just your brain protecting itself. So this is the kind of stuff that Elizabeth Kelly Stephenson gets into in her book. Um, you know, we have to come to the truth of things if we want to live truly spiritual lives and not just fantasy. A lot of what people call religion or spirituality is really just escapism, right? I also wanted to thank everybody that thought of me for the holidays. I have not gotten to my P.O. box yet. So if you did send me a card or a gift, I want to thank you in advance. I will thank you once I get the stuff, but I also want to thank you beforehand. I haven't gotten to all of the cards yet. Hopefully today I'll be able to get over to the PO box. Well, I guess people want to talk about remote viewing, and that's okay. I think that that's a lovely idea. It dawned on me that I have not opened up the charity. Usually we run a charity, and for this time of year, the charity is, hold on. Just want to make sure I'm a little bit organized before we get started here. Yes, our charity is for this month was supposed to be no, not AmericanForest.org. It was supposed to be Feed America. So yeah, we do a food fundraiser for the holidays. And so I need to go ahead and find that for you all. So if you would like, if anything about today is even slightly entertaining, please think about donating to Feeding America Together. Donations collected for Feeding America is our charity. As many of you know, we've been getting together for about 5-6 years, might have been more at this point, and we do remote viewing and tarot card blitzes, and all the money from the Sunday show is donated to charity. We've been doing this, like I said, for many, many years, and we've literally, this community with matched donations has raised for charity well over $1 million since it was started. And I'm really glad that we do this, and it helps us it can help all of us realize that you are more powerful than you realize. Because when you organize something like this, just a little get together where people hang out and do tarot, and yet you look at what we accomplished over the last 5-6 years, that we literally, with match donations from Google and other organizations, have raised in excess well over $1 million. I think it's something like $1.2 million has been raised with match donations by this channel. Yeah. And the organizations that received the money have been AmericanForest.org, Feed America, the Southern Poverty Law Center received quite a bit of money. I think it was a Google match. Also, with Center for Policing, we got a $1 million donation from Google when we started that campaign. And we also got money we were able to raise money for Hope for Paws, senior dogs, and for clean water. So it's just something that you can all be proud of, that we helped, we came together, we had a little fun, we threw tarot, and we raised, now we'll be going into, I believe it's our 6th or 7th year. I'll have to check. It was started in 2020, so I guess we'll be going into our 6th year of fundraising. And yeah, you can all be proud that you got to be a part of that. Oh, you're talking about 1983, the case of human trafficking taking place amongst the wealthy who had boats docked in Lake Michigan in the 80s and 90s. This goes back to this idea of human trafficking, that it's taking place on the boats. And this is something that came up in remote views in the past, is that a lot of human trafficking was taking place on the boats. And there are islands where people keep their slaves. So slavery didn't end. This idea of slavery ending is kind of a myth. There was one woman, she was kidnapped from a cruise ship and taken to one of those islands in Turkey where she was held as a sex slave. And I think she's still imprisoned. Her family's still trying to get her back. But yeah, so if you look at triangular trade, which Donald Trump was part of the triangular trade industry, it continued, but now they do it on private islands. Interesting, Johnny Depp has a private island, and he was meeting with Salman on his private yacht when they organized the hit to use the media and Russian propaganda to go after Amber Heard when she came out as a domestic violence survivor. Those meetings took place on Mohammed bin Salman's private yacht with Russian operative and Putin propagandist Adam Waldman. Adam Waldman was the Russian propaganda guy that was hired by Johnny Depp to do that campaign. It's interesting. He worked with Dan Abrams. Dan Abrams of Court TV was taking money under the table that was linked back to Johnny Depp. And I did a whole expose on it, and nobody cared. It was just more rich people with money destroying another woman's life, just like they went after. By the way, he was the same guy. Adam Waldman was the same guy that went after Hillary Clinton. It was the same exact propaganda expert that they hired. And what's interesting and scary is that it was legal, that Adam Waldman could go on these boats, meet with people like Mohammed bin Salman, and work with Russian propaganda bots and take out Hillary Clinton, take out Amber Heard, take out Duchess Meghan was another target. They were going, any powerful woman that was not in line and obedient and submissive could be controlled, beaten through Russian propaganda, etc. And that also was taking place on the boats. But in terms of the islands, the Cayman Islands, there's a lot of human trafficking taking place on the boats in the Cayman Islands. Panama, etc. And it was just part of this trafficking. So you have people on islands in these remote areas that are born into slavery. Their mother is a slave. She has been purchased. She's kept in a particular area. She's bred, and then her children will go on to be trafficked. And there you have generational slavery in these islands, no rights whatsoever. So the fact that it was taking place in Michigan, they do whatever the hell they want. And we have to ask ourselves, how did it get to this point, and what are we doing to put a stop to it? But yeah, on the boats, also international waters. The other thing that started to come out, they say, is that the Trump Miss America and teen pageants where they were trafficking girls, a lot of the girls that won those pageants wound up being drug addicts and destroyed and whatnot because they were then trafficked. Oh, I want the winner. I want pick this one, pick that one, pick this one. It makes me grateful I never made it as a model. I used to do a little bit of modeling when I was in Europe, did a little bit of catalog work, a little, nothing important. I was never a big model. I would just did a little bit of modeling. And I was always frustrated that I couldn't break into a good agency, never got into Elite, always was with the smaller agencies. And now when I look at what happened to those people, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I was protected by God. That's why that's why I never made it into the bigger echelons, because those women, you wonder also about the women that become Victoria's Secret model, like how many of them had been trafficked. Yeah. Oh, you started a 2.5 million endowment for the Samaritan House? Good for you. Yeah. It's amazing how much good a few people can do if we put our minds to it. Just get a little organized. That's why I like the GoFundMes. I think those are great. Thank you. John Gerald gave $9.99 to Feed America. Much appreciation. So we've got the floor director here, Joel Tilson. Much gratitude to you. He comes here every Sunday to try and help out, and we do appreciate him. Looks like Zelinsky and Trump are going to be meeting. Trump is trying desperately to get to peace because he wants to leave a legacy, I imagine, that he can be proud of. And we will see. I'm pretty skeptical. He's also meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow about the rebuild of Gaza. So, again, I don't know, folks. I don't know. Trump looked very grumpy during the Xmas holiday party at Mar-a-Lago. Is Trump's poor health the reason for this? Well, I don't know, folks. Do you think he's going to be impeached or removed, or do you think that they're going to tolerate this disaster until 2028? He is already a lame duck. A way of thinking about it, excuse me, a way of thinking about it is that Donald Trump is a lame duck even without a Democrat majority in the House and Senate, in the sense that there is a split happening in the Republican Party that is so deep at this point that he does not have compliance in the House. It's like herding cats or rabid dogs is more like it. I think that when we talk about the stages of death and dying, that's a good way of looking at Trump's situation, because he is almost 80 years old. His health is poor. I'm doing my continuing education right now, and I tend to do a lot of continuing education in two areas. I'm a naturopathic doctor, but I do my CMEs with regular doctors. I take the same continuing education as the medical doctors because I want to know what the latest in science and what the protocols are. But Yeah, so the two areas I study the most are cardiology and neurology, and the relationship between the heart and the brain, and the heart, the brain, and the pancreas, the heart, the brain, and the liver, in the sense that, if your blood sugar is dysregulated, if the liver is storing too many carbs, well, you get fatty liver disease, you strained pancreas, metabolic syndrome is common. But it was interesting, I was studying the Alzheimer's medications, and, they have self-injecting, subcutaneous they have subcutaneous injection, and I was studying it last night, and so the patient, you can do you can do you can do the IVs, you can do these things for if you have too much fluid, which he does. If you have a fluid overload and you get diuretics, that could be part of why Trump is getting a needle in the vein. The other is that we do blood draws to find out if a person is okay with their blood thinners post-stent. I'd be very surprised if he hasn't had stents placed at least once, possibly twice, given his diet. He certainly has all the hallmarks of what we would call metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome happens when you are overfed, and the best remedy for metabolic syndrome is to stop eating. Controlled fasting every day. I was hungry last night. I was like, I'm going to go eat something. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go eat something. I'm just going to finish my green tea and go to bed. Like, the more you do that, the more your body is able to digest all those carbohydrates that it hasn't used up yet. Clear the arteries, start burning that fat. You want all that fat to be used up. You want all that energy to be used up. Stop eating. But don't donate. I cannot pronounce these words. Donate. Donanemab. How do you pronounce this? Donanemab? Donanemab? Donna Nemab. Donna Nemab. Donna Nemab? Help me, people. All right, this is one of the experimental Alzheimer's drugs that I was learning about last night. Kisunla. Now try pronouncing this. Donanemab. Donanemab. It's possible to significantly reduce amyloid plaques associated with early symptomatic AD by taking Kisunla. Kisunla. See, I could never give a presentation until I figured out how to pronounce this stuff. But so the patient can do a subcutaneous on themselves. And the data would suggest that it's working. And it is that the patient can administer it to themselves because there is a subcutaneous. And here's some interesting studies on what happens after 6 months. It appears to hold. It appears to be able to clear the amyloid. And after 6 months, they still found that it had been beneficial. So the data coming out on this particular medication shows that the fix sticks, and that's really good. So if he is in a trial or if he's being treated using one of these medications, that would explain why he's got the pokes. But the pokes look to me a lot like he's maybe having blood draws for dual antiplatelet therapy. Dual antiplatelet therapy is when a person's on aspirin, but they're also on something like Plavix, and we have to make sure that we're checking their platelets, aggregation, etc., to make sure that they are not clotting too little, clotting too much. And that blood draw will typically be happening in the dorsal of the hand because of rolling veins, this sort of thing, which can happen when we get older. And that's possibly what happened to Donald Trump. But if you're talking about the side effects of this type of drug, you see headaches, confusion, dizziness, vision changes, nausea, and difficulty walking, possible seizures as well, which is kind of interesting. So this is one of the experimental drugs that Trump may be on, just to let people know that. All right, so I think it'll be we got 353 wonderful, beautiful, 349 beautiful, wonderful people here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the empath prayer, and then we will give you a collective reading. Would you all like to have a collective? Would you enjoy that? Yes? Would you like a reading? I think we should do that. So this reading that you're receiving, this collective reading at the time will be appropriate to you at the time that you see it. That is kind of how I said it. So while I was on vacation, I made sure to stop by the what's it called? Edge of the Circle Books. Edge of the Circle Books in Seattle, Washington. Robert Anderson owns it. Has everybody visited Edge of the Circle Books? Make sure to check it out. Edge of the Circle Books in University District, Seattle. It's owned by Robert Anderson. Very nice. One of my dearest friends. Anyway, every year I go around this time and I buy my cards for the years. Right? I buy my card for the year. I bought like 10 different Oracle cards. I'm excited to use them for this Saturday, but I also got brand new Universal Rider-Waite's. So we'll have a nice reading with the brand new cards. So that'll be nice. All right. If you'd like to receive a healing at this time, go ahead and give us your name or the name of somebody you love, and we can include them in our prayers today as we bring in the empath's prayer. And this will be the last time we are meeting and giving the empath's prayer on Sunday before the new year. So we gotta say goodbye to 2025 with gusto. All right. Yeah, give us your names and we will include you in the prayers. Let's bring in the empath prayer. And then after that, we'll give you a collective and then we'll move on to the blitzes. Sound good? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And thank you, everyone who has made the effort to donate to the charity. We are raising money for feedamerica.org, and we very much appreciate all the help. I'm sure they appreciate it. Okay, let's do this thing. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who have come here today to receive a healing, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. Thank you. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let us see what we got going on. I am excited. I know you're excited. I think it's going to be good. I think we're looking at a good year. It's going to be an active year. I don't think it needs to be necessarily a crazy year. I know people are scared because it is a fire horse. And I understand people get nervous when you're in a fire horse year. So because it is a rough, it can be really rough, a fire year. It also can be exciting, All right, your collective reading for the day, for the week. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for us. What is going on with you and the world? Now, remember, this is based on the collective. Whatever does not apply to you, it's a smorgasbord of cosmic consciousness. If it does not apply to you, please say, I don't believe that message applies to me. I do not like green. I do not like fried okra. Just pass it down. Somebody else at the table loves fried okra. So that's how the reading is. Take what applies to you and leave the rest. All right. Where we are at right now. Make sure this is giving you good. Yeah, there we go. The base of the matter for you at this time is you have entered into a phase in your life which is that of new beginnings. You have entered a phase in your life of new beginnings. Everything is a cycle. Everything is a cycle. This world is created from cycles, right? There is an ending and there is a beginning, right? The Alpha and the Omega. But when we get a page of wands, its time is the spring. It is the Archangel Uriel. It is associated with Uriel, sounds very similar in Hebrew to Ariel, which is the lion. Now, the lion is the symbol of Judah, and it's the leadership. It's also the head, the Rosh, the head in Hebrew. And so Uriel is associated with pilgrimage, and it is the beginning. He is the pilgrim. He is covered by chameleons, so he is in a state of change. It's interesting when you look at this card because you literally see the chameleons. The chameleon, and he's in a constant state of change. So the thing I would take right now from the base for you and for the world at this time is that we are in flux. When Uriel shows up, he is telling you that the old ways are gone. The old ways are gone. Human beings have always been terrible to human beings. We'll be wonderful to dogs and cats, maybe, but we won't necessarily like our fellow human beings. We may, in fact, see our fellow human beings as a threat to our safety. You know what I mean? We may see them as predatory. We may see them as getting in the way of what we want, or we may see them as somebody we can use. Naive people with good hearts that we can take advantage of, right? So we don't always treat each other right. And that's something that we are starting to come to terms with. We are starting to see our world leaders for who and what they really are. That they will tell the peasants what the peasants want to hear, right? Tell the peasants what the peasants want to hear. Oh, yes, we love the poor. God bless the poor. But in real life, they think we're all a bunch of scum, and they just tell us what we want to hear. And they're involved with all kinds of human trafficking and horrible things, right? What happened with Prince Andrew and Fergie, and oh, it's not true. They were more than happy to lie until the evidence became irrefutable and the dam broke, right? But I think the takeaway here for us spiritually is that human beings, when given the opportunity to do so, don't always treat human beings very well. But when you have Uriel is a pilgrim. He is the pilgrim who creates a new way and a new path. And so we're really headed in a direction, all of us, where you're being given an opportunity to try something different. We know the past. We know we know what the past was. Your past. You know your past. But the question Spirit is asking you is, are you willing to try something different, Marianne, Joyce, Alexandra, Joel, Patricia? Are you willing to try something different? If you continue to do things the way you've always done them, Mia Sunshine, Tarot task backwards, Tarot task backwards. If you keep doing things the way you've done them in the past, you will continue to get the same results. But what you're being asked to do at this time is to try something different and to engage in a new beginning. When the pioneer comes, the change is coming. A change is upon us. That is how we should view the message from Spirit at this time. There is a change upon us. And the change that is upon us is transformative. The change that is upon us is the change of the chameleon. He changes his colors. He changes his direction. He does what he has to do in order to achieve, whether it's survival or finding food. He adapts. So the Page of Wands is the pilgrim who begins a new path, but he also tries something different and he is willing to change. And this is your message for today. Your message for today is that now is the time for you to be willing to change so that you will not repeat the mistakes of the past. Does that make sense to you? You're being asked to change. Because I knew you, I was changed for good. Yes, I was changed for the better. Because I knew you, I was changed for good. Yes, I was changed for the better. Right? That's a lovely spiritual song when you think about it from Wicked, right? It's this idea that instead of being human beings that make life horrible for one another, we're being offered the opportunity to change. We're being offered a chance to change for the better, starting with ourselves. That is 2026. We are all called to give an account and a reckoning for our lives, and that we are challenged to change for the better. The Karma card, which is your karma for this year, it's something that we all have to think about. What is the karma that we are taking on? And for you at this time, you must learn discipline. If you do not change your ways, you will continue to make the same mistakes you made in the past. And furthermore, you can only change your predicament with discipline. That is your personal message, because the Karma card is the King of Swords, and the King of Swords is disciplined. He is the librarian. He is white, clean, sanitation, going in, and I'm going to cut that tumor out, right? So it's often a surgeon or a military officer, and it's blue ice. He's often called the Ice King. But it's this idea of you entering into a time in your life that is profoundly disciplined. You're entering into a time in your life which is profoundly disciplined, and it will change you. It's like when I decided to go to medical school, right? I had to learn, I fought the discipline. It was difficult to sit and study Homework, 4 hours a day, medical school, and then 4 hours, 5 hours of homework a day on top of that, plus a part-time job, catering. That was my life, right? So, you are headed towards new beginnings, and you will be changed from these new beginnings, and you are entering into a time of profound discipline. If you're asking me what's happening globally, how I would see this as happening globally, it's a new beginning for Donald Trump, or it's a new beginning for the military and discipline, and it could impact Trump. I think Trump's been abandoned. I think that people are protesting him. And I think that Turning Point USA has already picked their king, and their king is JD Vance. And it's kind of JD Vance has 85% of the vote for the primary already because they've prepared it that way. They are heavily promoting JD Vance at Turning Point. So he has 85% of the MAGA vote. They are abandoning Trump and they're embracing JD Vance. So if the audience is already ready for a JD Vance presidency, that means they can discard of Trump faster rather than slower, right? But there's a new beginning, and we also have the Ace of Cups in the first house, a new beginning, karma, and the message of discipline for your life right now. We don't, it's like I was watching a video where they're talking about people who become prodigies, and they say, so you're an old person and you want to be you want to compete as a violinist with prodigies, and Two Steps Violin says, well, you can't, and that's not going to happen, and you're not going to be a prodigy, and you're never going to be able to compete with young people because you started too late. But you can be a great violinist. You can learn some great stuff, but you're never going to be a prodigy. And then they show all these adults learning to play the violin for the first time. And it ended with this one guy who started in his 30s from Taiwan or something. And now he's 35 and he's like, and then they had to eat their words. Well, I guess you can be a prodigy as an old person. And they called him an adult prodigy. So I think the takeaway here for you is that you will be changed. You will be changed for the better with discipline. And it is not too late for you to change. It is not too late for you to benefit from those changes, right? So you have this new beginning happening for you. The other thing is that love is as perennial as the grass. Ace of Cups in the first house. We often feel like love is this, I'm lonely. Where will my love come from? When will I ever have love in my life? But it's in the moment. It's in the present moment. This is very much a Buddhist concept of this term, which in Buddhism is called Ichinan Sansan. Hope I pronounced that properly. Ichinan Sansan. Any Buddhist here? It's everything that ever was or ever will be exist in a single moment. So when you are in the point of your meditation, where you are chanting and present, understand that everything that is or ever will be exist in that moment. That is the state of the Buddha, right? And so it's this awareness that everything that is horrible, good, and wonderful and beautiful exists in a single moment. But the Ace of Cups is an awareness of love from the universe, and a desire for love. This year for you, it is advised that you be disciplined in your personal goals, that you put aside the laziness of the past, that you move in a direction that makes you better, and that you pursue love in your interpersonal relationships, and see love as something that you're capable of experiencing in every moment. You have a choice. Your crossing card is that there is great conflict coming. So we've talked a lot about this idea that there is conflict coming. I predict that we are going to see a lot of fighting in the house coming up. There's going to be a lot of fighting in the house. And the reason there's going to be a lot of fighting in the house is because we've talked about grief and the stages of grief. Catherine Kubler-Ross, right? The stages of grief. Stages of grief. Right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this together, because that is what the Congress is about to be going through. The Congress is going through this now, right? So this is how Elizabeth, I keep calling her Catherine, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's famous 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Somebody say, "You got the stages wrong, Whimsy." Well, so did Google if I got it wrong. But Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talked about this phenomenon that her patients, when they receive a tragic diagnosis, will go through a process. And the first is that they will deny that they're sick. I knocked it out of the ballpark. I've taken 3 cognitive skills. I'm great. Right? So they may go through a period of denial. I don't have Alzheimer's. I'm doing great. Right? Then when you start to chip away at the defenses and say, well, there's this evidence, this evidence, this evidence, this evidence that you do, in fact, have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's and that they've been monitoring you for some time, the person might get angry, right? Because you're chipping away at their armor. So you might see first denial on the part of the president. Then you might start to see anger, where Donald Trump becomes angry, right? And then people that bought into his crazy, it's like finding out your wonderful, loving husband's been defrauding you for years and he's got a girlfriend, right? Imagine the mental state you would be in when you had to come to the truth of the fact that you've been working like a dog and this guy's blowing all your money and you've been defrauded, and right? So the first phase when you find out your spouse is cheating is denial, right? No, my husband would never do that. My husband would never be running up credit card debt gambling. He would never gamble. He would never cheat. He would never lie. He would never steal, right? Because it's human nature. You can't handle it. The first horrible news, we're in denial. No, Trump would never do that. He hated Epstein. He got rid of Epstein. He wanted to expose denial, 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 right? So anytime you hear bad news, the first phase is denial. So you have this collective denial that's happening between the Republican Party and Donald Trump. But there are cracks forming. You keep chipping away at the denial, and people start to feel threatened. And then what happens? You go into anger. You go into anger. And what we see with the 5 of Wands is the future of Congress in the next couple weeks, as they slowly have to come out of denial about the fact that their guy is a pedophile. But it's worse than that. As I had said in the past, the intelligence agencies have to come before Congress and answer questions about how we wound up with a Donald Trump presidency. If they were holding on to this kind of intelligence and saying fake, 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 fake every time somebody, a woman or a child came forward and said I was raped or trafficked, fake, 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 throw it in the trash, throw it in the trash, la 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 la, denial, because I'm going to support this guy, right? So they buried. What we're finding is massive troves of data that was thrown in the trash because they were protecting their guy. Those people that were in denial must be drugged before Congress, because we're in our situation right now because of the intelligence agencies helping this guy get into the White House, knowing full well that he was raping children. I think you should be before Congress. Right? So we're moving from denial to anger. Then we will see bargaining, depression, and acceptance on the part of the GOP and Trump regarding his situation. But for now, we are headed into the world of anger. We had a lot of denial on the part of the president, and now we are moving towards anger. That is where we are headed. And Five of Wands is about anger and conflict. Here's the thing, though, here's the takeaway I would give people. Anger or conflict is important to growth. Anger and conflict is important to growth. So if we're seeing anger and conflict in Congress, it's because they're growing. They are going to have to be forced to come to terms with who this guy is. And there are enough Republicans, something like 50 Republicans, that now the light bulb is on, which means that they have to convince another 200, less than 200, right? That this guy is a horrible person and he's a fruitcake. But we're entering into conflict. That's the energy now is conflict and knowledge. Five of Wands is a conflict card. So we have all this beautiful love that we have the potential to pursue in this year. Love and compassion and a new beginning of discipline. All those things come to you this year, and that's great. That's beautiful that all those things are coming to you this year. But you will also face conflict. We will be, in this country and throughout the world, we are entering into extreme conflict. But from that conflict will come growth. From the fighting, I am going to go on record right here on December 28th, 2025, that when Congress returns January 6th, within a week or two, we're going to see extreme meltdowns on the floor. Go ahead and put it down because it is inevitable. They're entering into the stage of anger. They are angry. They are threatened. There are holes in the armor. They cannot maintain this. And so we see fighting on the floor. In terms of what's going on with you personally, you may find yourself in conflict with family members, in conflict in your business, in conflict with yourself. A desire to learn, a desire for more knowledge could require you to separate or remove yourself from certain people that are toxic in your interpersonal relationships. What is above us? Many smooth waters lay ahead for us. So we're actually, despite all this crazy that we're seeing, in many ways, we're better off now than we were 20 years ago because we're closer to the truth. And when you get to the truth, you can find a solution. 20 years ago, Epstein was on his yacht having a great time. And thousands of people were abused, raped, mistreated, right? So we're actually coming out of this. If you think about the Six of Swords, I read swords as years. Many readers read them as years. It's a solid year, and it's ice. They're ice swords. Well, that's January. So January 1st is the beginning of the year. The Ace of Sword usually corresponds with the month of January and the start of the year, right? So when you look at Six of Swords, you see that it has rocky waters on part of it. You can see these rocky waters. And then in the future, you see the smooth, glassy future. So the message of Six of Swords is what is above us. If you continue in discipline and a willingness to change on your part, with Page of Wands, disruption, chameleon, comes the discipline. There will be conflict in this change. There will be love and there will be conflict, but you will be changed for the better. And we will be guaranteed many years of smooth waters ahead. But it requires intense honesty on the part of leadership, American leadership. How did we get to this point? Citizens United, the PACs, right? PACs with money coming from foreign governments, right? Now Mamdani is under criminal investigation. They opened up a criminal investigation, which is going to become a much larger criminal investigation because they found that Muslim countries and Muslim countries like Qatar through PACs had funded Mamdani out of New York, not because they care about democratic socialism, but because they wanted a Qatari money in New York, which is an incredibly, incredibly wealthy city, right? Stock market is there, right? So you want that Qatari money to get in. So all these investigations are coming out of foreign money, etc. And now we have the conflict where we have to decide what kind of country we want to have. most politicians are bought by Qatar. But Qatar invested heavily in something like 40 billion in the universities to create Qataris, to create kids that think like Qataris. A lot of new Muslims now on campus, a lot of kids converting to Islam, right? But also Qatar invested in the Republican Party and in the Democratic Party both. And it was about control. That is the problem with these PACs, is we had too much foreign money coming in. And we have to decide, I think collectively as a country, we're going to have to fight very hard to get control of our own country and not have these foreign influences, China, Qatar, etc. But I like that Six of Swords, because the Six of Swords would be an indication that we're actually moving towards a really great future. As painful as this process is for all of us, we're moving towards a really positive future for ourselves. What you sit in is the Seven of Swords. And Seven of Swords is the thief's card, helter skelter. It is a desire to flee like a thief. So if a person is fleeing like a thief, it's often because they want to get out of a bad situation, right? So you have this conflict and you have this theft card happening. And I think meditation can really help here, because if we find ourselves in a job or in a relationship, or even if it's with our own family members, and we find that it is intolerant during this process, you may feel like you need to get out of there. It may be the time you end that relationship with that abusive sibling or partner or business associate, because there is all this conflict coming to us right now. And I'll tell you, mark my words, Congress, they will be because they're afraid, because they're scared, right? So first you have denial. I don't think that Congress can continue to be in denial, because Rupert Murdoch is publishing exposés now on Trump. So denial comes in, and then anger, but bargaining is also associated with fear. You start to become scared. And so I think what also we're going to see, after we start to see the blowouts in Congress, and what they're going to be, from the anger, we will start to see fear and hysteria. The boat is sinking. The Republican boat is sinking. And so anger, and then, you want to make a deal with us? You want to make a deal with us? Trying desperately to get the Democrats to make some kind of deal with them, because of this fear that they're all going down. And then we expect to see depression starting to happen with members of the GOP Congress, as the full weight of the loss is felt. That Trump is a pedophile, that he was hanging out with a pedophile because he was a pedophile. Occam's razor, the most simple explanation is usually the right one. He was hanging out with a pedophile because he was a pedophile. And that's acceptance. So that process is happening now. And if you're talking about where we are in that process, we're in this phase of denial and anger. We told you Trump had Band-Aids on both of his hands because he shakes hands a lot and he takes aspirin. I don't know anyone who takes aspirin that gets bruises on both hands from shaking hands, right? So they're just making stuff up. And you have doctors like Sanjay Gupta saying, no, that looks more like dual antiplatelet therapy is happening based on those bruising. That looks more like Plavix. So you have real doctors weighing in, also talking about the neurological deficits where he appears to be showing, psychiatrists weighing in. These are not stupid people. These are trained physicians that are, we know that Levitt and all the others are lying, and so it's coming out, and it's not very pretty, but, what we're coming out of is family secrets. 10 of Pentacles is the family legacy card, it's what we inherit. But there's an aspect to the 10 of Pentacles, which is also a dirty little family secrets because we inherit the good and the bad. Straight up, it's, yay, I inherited $1 million. But you also may have inherited a family of dirty secrets, people whispering, people hiding, people spying on each other. What are they up to? What are they planning? Children are trying to come in from the veil, new incarnations, the old passing from behind the veil, generations. But you also have spying and secrets, dirty little secrets about grandpa or the crazy uncle. So we inherit both the good and the bad. And what we are emerging or headed towards, we're letting things go. We're letting things go. And I'll tell you, I think we're letting this president go. I think that because of who Trump is, and because there are so many, Marjorie Taylor Greene was the first to leave and say, "This guy." I heard Boebert talking. Trump was the first to leave, and then like the way that they have twisted themselves into knots with the whole Epstein story is so nonsensical. Like he was a good pedophile because he left first. Like, and he didn't leave first. He was still connecting with the guy in 2016, evidently 2017. But the point is that we have the hanged man. So I think people are giving up a lot of old relationships. It's a new beginning. They're giving up old relationships. And I think that, God, it's really kind of difficult to watch. It's like Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with him. It was like they were intentionally shunning him. How embarrassing. It's your damn club, and you have Melania screaming and yelling. She was sitting with her dad, right? She was animated, talking to her dad about something, and Trump was just sitting there like an old man, ignored. That's not a fun Christmas, right? Yeah. So where we are at right now, Two of Swords, denial. We may be this is why meditation is so important, because it helps you come out of denial. Two of Swords has a positive aspect because it's you're refusing to let others have access to you. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Be aware of what is going on in the outside world, even if you choose not to participate. Your opposition at this time, heartbreak. Those who have harmed you, those who have lost you, those who have screwed up, and you're no longer get to be a part of your life, they lose. They've lost. Because they don't get to have you in their life anymore. The grieving of the other, the heartbreak of the other. If you're asking about Donald Trump, though, I would say this is heart disease. I always see heart disease over him. I really am going to be fascinated to see what Congress looks like after January 6th, because this is so bad. The expose is so bad. You got that 5 of Wands. They're all screaming at Mike Johnson. What's Mike Johnson going to do? He really believed in this crap. There comes a point when you're going to have to come out of denial, and that's what we have here. But we have so much denial. Two of Swords is the ultimate denial card. The hope and fear at this time that we will be successful in our lives, that the next 6 months will prove fruitful. And then the final outcome for us is a new man on the block, King of Pentacles. By the way, that's also JD Vance's card. Honestly, I think that many of them have already started ignoring Trump, and they're already excited about JD Vance, turning point. Erica Kirk is in love with the guy, she's like, oh, baby, right? But you are my MAGA dream, right? So there's a new kid on the block. Isn't it well, he's a businessman, dark-haired. I just don't think Trump is gonna complete his presidency, and Spirit said it was done, and so what does that mean? Does that mean he comes back and he's a lame duck and everybody just hates him? I mean, what a and they just shun him hoping he'll leave? Or but I'm telling you, I see JD Vance coming in. Now, a lot of you are not happy about JD Vance because, well, it's JD Vance, but while they have the power, they need to put in JD Vance because once Congress changes, they're not going to have any power at all. So I think we're looking at JD Vance coming in very, very soon. They're talking about the 6-month period. I think we're going to be able to save healthcare. I think one of the bargaining chips for the Republicans will be opening up Congress and see, we're working with you. We're working with you. We're giving you what you want. You're getting your Obamacare. Stop threatening us, right? So 6 of Pentacles is an indication of caring for those who cannot care for themselves. It's the fairness of service, right? It's the balance. So I would argue that it's very, very likely that we're going to, because of how desperate they are right now in Congress, because of everything that's going down with Trump, I think we're going to be able, they're going to enter into that bargaining phase, and then up comes 6 of Pentacles in the coming weeks. So they are going to start making deals with us. Our other, the enemy, heartbroken, economic corruption. So who are you avoiding? You're not avoiding good people. You're avoiding bad people, right? So the opposition is heartbroken and financially corrupt because 2 of Pentacles is the flim flam man. So you have this heartbroken flim flam man who stands as the opposition. I'm telling you, in a very short amount of time, Trump is going to be a pariah of his own party. And people will be open about it. They will be open about the fact that he is a pariah. If someone abuses you or doesn't treat you right, regardless of who they are or how they took care of you when you were a kid or whatever the issue is, it is, from a Buddhist perspective, it's morally wrong for you to allow them to have access to you. If you're allowing people to have access to you that you know are abusive simply because of some kind of biological obligation, from a Buddhist perspective, you're in violation of the law because you're the Buddha. And so what you're doing is like I have a friend who's misguided about karma. She said, well, yes, my sister abuses me, but I feel like it's my karma to learn how to deal with her. I said, no, it's your karma to avoid her. Cut her off, send her on her way and bless her, but it's morally wrong to choose to expose yourself to a corrupt, abusive person. It's in violation of the law. Isn't that crazy? This is something that they teach a lot in Zen, is that sometimes people will go off into monastery and they will just focus on Zen, and it is a moral decision that many abused women in Japan move to monastery and they live with the nuns. It is considered a righteous thing to do in Buddhism. They take their dowry and they give it to their fellow nuns for rice and miso, and that's it. They're up in the mountains meditating, and the men in Japan will come and beg their wives to come home from the nunneries. No, she has given everything to her fellow nuns, and she's taken orders, and you are no longer her husband. I was thinking about doing it myself. Like, would they take my dowry? I got a bit of a dowry now. It's like, I'm done. I got a retirement. I've got no student loan debt. I'm tired of being abused by life. I'm going to just move out to the mountains somewhere in northern Japan and commit to the Buddha. You can have my dowry. I bring in a Social Security, which I would happily share with my fellow nuns. I'm out. But that's what that is about. It's about this moral decision to remove yourself. But I'll tell you, if Trump is the eighth house, then he stands in opposition to his own political party. Look at that. Two of Pentacles and Three of Swords. You can't make this stuff up. Flim flam man with heart disease. I mean, like, but look at the seventh house. We're going to get what we want through Congress. They either give the constituents what they want, not this freaking political BS. We want health insurance and we want affordability and we want cheap rent. Give us what we want, or you're going down the tube with your creepy president, because I'm telling you, MAGA is splitting. Hopes and fears at this time, a knight on a white horse. It's what we all want, but it's what we all know doesn't really exist. You got to save yourself, right? And then the final outcome is the Nine of Swords. You know what? Every time I talk a lot with Chuck about this, because Chuck is a trance medium, and I've asked him, what do you pick up on JD Vance? And he will say, it's the weirdest thing. It's like JD Vance doesn't want to be the president. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to be the president. There is a great stress on him. There is a great stress on JD Vance. He knows he's being groomed to be the president, but I can't guarantee he's happy about it. And I don't think the American people are entirely happy about it. But I can tell you guys, if you listen to the message of Spirit in terms of your personal message, it is a new beginning for you. Remove toxic people from your life. Never give permission to another human being to mistreat or abuse you. Don't push it under the rug. Be proactive and avoid them like the plague. Do not give them money. I don't care if they're your child and they're out on the streets. If that person is a threat to your physical, mental stability or safety, you have a moral responsibility to stay away from them. And so if you do these things, if you are disciplined, a new beginning, willing to change, commit to your own life, a new beginning with discipline, you will be guaranteed many happy years to come. In terms of what's happening politically, though, I do see a JD Vance presidency. I know you all don't like to hear that, but that is what it says. And we can start blitzing away. This is your general. I hope it gave you some clarity about what you can do in this cosmic mess to get yourself in a good direction. Discipline also includes discipline over your diet, your nutrition, your exercise program, making sure you're getting out there and walking every day. If you commit to this karma of the King of Swords, many smooth waters will lay ahead. Hanged man over the conflict. Avoid others who are abusive like the plague. I feel like I want to do a blitz on JD Vance, because we're moving towards a JD Vance presidency. And Joyce Pietris is giving me the blitz away. So I think we need to just start the blitz now. But I hope this gave you guys some clarity about what Spirit's message to you was. I feel like Spirit is directing me, because JD Vance was the outcome. Like, I want to look at to see what's happening with him. The future of JD Vance. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're going to blitz away. And let's take a look at any questions you have about what's going on in the world right now. We're just going to start doing some blitzes. All right, the future of JD Vance. There's a tower over JD Vance. So there are people. Trump is going to get his gremlins to go after JD Vance. So JD Vance is going to find himself in the same place as Pence, Mike Pence. When they were trying to lynch Mike Pence, when get into the car, we're going to take you somewhere. We're going to kidnap you so that you cannot bring in the election, right? So he turned on Mike Pence, Trump did, and now we see he will be turning on Vance, so that we will start to see a widening of the rift between JD Vance and Donald Trump. And we will start to see the horror of JD Vance as he becomes a target of the cronies, a small group of henchmen that Trump has surrounded himself with. This is what I predict. His opposition, Trump fears incarceration. This is something that has come up a lot with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is cornered. Agoraphobia, fear of going outside, feeling cornered in your own home. That's the 9 of Wands. Trump fears incarceration. He fears that they will declare him communist non grata, right? Incompetent, right? Incapable of doing his duties, drug out. He fears JD Vance will be attempting to remove him, right? So you have his opposition, Trump, in a state of 9 of Wands. This comes up constantly. They're going to drag me off. They're going to say they're building a case, an Alzheimer's case against me. That's why they're doing this imagery, right? They're doing all this imagery and taking these exams, and then they're handing all the documents to who? His cabinet. So we got a coup happening here. This is Trump's view. We got a coup happening. They're trying to do a coup, right? So we have the tower over JD Vance and this reaction from Trump. They're trying to lock me up. They're going to take me to a psych hospital. We see strife. 8 of Wands is a strife card, and it would indicate that things are happening very, very quickly. And then the final outcome is he will take the weapons of war away from his enemies. So I'm telling you, there is a war happening between JD Vance and Trump. Trump is beginning to accuse him the way he accused Mike Pence. And just like Mike Pence, he will try to kill him. He will try to get his henchmen. Imagine the shock and horror of JD Vance. How the hell did this happen? Didn't you learn from Mike Pence? What made you think that it was going to end differently for you than it did for everybody else that's ever had a relationship with this guy? When you're desperate, like the 9 of Wands, you do desperate things, and that means creating the tower for somebody else. And you can see that strife there. 5 of Swords would indicate that JD Vance will take control of this situation. He will take control of this situation. The tower over JD Vance. He will have to abandon Donald Trump. JD Vance will abandon Donald Trump, and it will happen very, very soon, and it will be at the behest of Turning Point USA. Five of Pentacles is poverty and exile from the church. It's also getting away from people that are toxic to you. This is tragic. It's painful for me to look at these cards. This is so horrible. The head of the cabinet is JD Vance. JD Vance is part of his cabinet. Rubio is part of his cabinet. Hegseth, part of the military. Yes, they could get the votes to remove Trump, but Trump fears it. Trump fears it, and he's retaliating. It's over for Trump. I don't know how. I don't understand all the details. But I'm telling you, the Knight of Pentacles is over Trump. And the Knight of Pentacles goes nowhere. It is a stopgap. You're not going anywhere. I'm telling you, they will control and contain this president. Donald Trump will be controlled and contained. He's going to declare war on Vance, he and his creepy friends. And then Vance will have no choice but to take him out. In plain words, Trump will create the reality he fears. He fears being removed. He fears a coup. He fears JD Vance and Turning Point turning on him, exposing him, destroying him, and that's and he should, because that is precisely what is happening. Articles of impeachment or Amendment 25. Heartbreak. It is sad because they're going to have to tear their party apart to get rid of this fruitcake. I think it could be Amendment 25 because this looks really fast, and it looks like it happens because Trump is threatening Vance. That's what I see. I see a threat here. This is getting away from the broken man in poverty and shock. This is agoraphobia, fear of incarceration. It ends. This is some kind of evidence or presentation. A blueprint happens very rapidly, filled with strife. He takes the weapons of war away from his enemy and is heartbroken. Yeah, so I think I'm going to comfortably say that the relationship between Donald Trump and JD Vance is over. Yeah. All right. So that was JD Vance. We're going to continue to blitz away for the next 10, 15 minutes. I don't know, folks. What do you think? Turning Point went with Vance because they knew that Vance could. Vance needs to get in there just like Ford and start to prove he can be the president. He's already looking at winning the primary because he has 85% support from the Republicans. So if they had the primary today, 85% said they would vote for JD Vance. So JD Vance is the person that they have selected to be the face of the Republican Party in 2028. But they're certainly positioning it to happen a lot sooner based on these cards. And the tension clearly has already started between these two men. All right, Zelinsky and Trump peace talks. Let's take a look. The sword of justice and truth with the Queen of Swords, an offer of peace, hopes and fears, the magician, and then the final outcome is no deal. Zelensky will not make a deal. Well, it's like Zelensky said, why don't you put out a vote with the Ukrainian people if they want to chop up half their country and give it to Russia? We don't need to have a new election. Let's have a new election and then we can put a Russian stooge in. We don't need to do that. We can do a poll right now. That's what Zelensky says. No deal. Confusion over the issue of Ukraine. Queen of Wands is Ukraine. Hopes and fears, the sunflower nation. Flee like a thief. There's no deal here. Let me see if Zelensky can get a deal with JD Vance, because JD Vance is probably going to be the president in the next couple months based on those cards. This is JD Vance and Zelinsky. There he is. There's JD. JD Vance will approve military action against Russia. JD Vance will side with NATO. Yeah. Five of Swords taking the weapons of war away. A new contract. Chariot is on God to go forward. Yes. Yep. He will back. He's extremely angry. JD Vance is extremely angry about this because he feels that he's somehow gotten manipulated. There's something here where he feels manipulated or pressured. Oh, maybe because of what Trump did. Like, pressured to do this, but doesn't see an end. I think he's angry also because it doesn't end. I'm not totally anti JD Vance. I mean, it's not my political views, but I definitely would rather have JD Vance than Donald Trump because um, you can debate the issues with JD Vance, whereas Trump, there are no issues to debate. It's just running around insulting people and pathologically lying. Whereas with JD Vance, he has an education and you can have a real conversation with him. So I think a lot of us are just coming to terms with the fact that we're looking at a JD Vance presidency for the next 2-3 years. And then it's Mark Kelly for president, right? Mark Kelly is coming up from behind and getting, a lot of people liked the governor of California, Newsom, but Mark Kelly is probably a better fit because he comes from a purple state. Trump looked very grumpy during the Xmas holiday party. What about his poor health? Let's take a look at Trump's health. Trump's health. The thief wants to flee. He is a thief. There's a part of him that wants to run from DC. There's this angry police energy over him, like criminal is running from the cops. The Knight of Swords is a bull in a china shop. It's the angry, violent energy of the Knight of Swords coming after you. He's chasing the thief and the thief is running. I'm telling you, mark my words, Trump is being hunted by his own party. Trump is being hunted by his own party. He worries about his own security and safety, Trump. And he's got the Queen of Wands over him. That's bad. You don't want the Queen of Wands as an enemy because she seeks justice absolute, and it's her version of justice. She is associated with the goddess Oshun. Y'all know who Oshun is. She is the lady in yellow. And you don't say no to her. You don't say no to the lady in yellow. She is the power of the female. She is the power of the feminine divine. But she is the first. She is the first Queen of Wands in all of her beauty and glory. These are the first images we see of the Queen of Wands. Ancient. The Queen of Wands is 8,000 years of worship. 8,000 years, the Yoruba people of Nigeria have worshipped the Queen of Wands. She is non-apologetic. She is all that and a bag of chips. She is sitting and looking at herself in the mirror and saying, I am gorgeous. I am a goddess. Right? You don't pick fights with her. You don't argue with her. She seeks justice absolute. Love, beauty, fertility, sensuality, purity, diplomacy, right? Powerful intermediary. Gold and yellow, coral, mirrors, fans, honey, and sunflowers, right? She survives. She survives in the tarot cards, you see? These cards were developed by a woman who, her father was Jamaican. So she was aware of these traditions that came from the Yoruba that survive in that part of the world. Possesses human traits like vanity and jealousy, but is known for her great kindness, listening ear, and power to grant wishes. So, what do we learn from her? We learned that it's my way or the highway. My way, boom, boom. She carries the wand of authority, and it's my way or the highway. I see you're going to do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. She's that type of a woman. So, He is being beaten and terrorized and driven away in these cards. That is Trump. But he is, it's also, she sanctifies the space. My space. Boom, boom, my space. Boom, boom, my space. Right? So this is my sanctuary. You have defiled, right? So she will clear the way so that the sacred can come in. It's very powerful imagery. And he is chased away by the King of Swords. And then we have this calm that comes in with the Knight of Pentacles. And then the Queen of Wands, she creates the circle. She's also the Queen of the Witches. And so she sanctifies the space. He fears incarceration. We're now seeing the repeating of the records. Now we're seeing records starting to repeat themselves. And when that happens, it means your cards are like, I told you this already. I told you. He fears incarceration. So we're seeing the cards are now repeating. He fears incarceration. It flees like a thief. His opposition will give him the honor of resigning. I'm telling you, this is a coordinated effort by Republicans and Democrats to sabotage Trump, and he will be given the honor of resigning early. Hopes and fears, peace in the land, and the final outcome is he cannot come back from this. Donald Trump cannot come back from this. I'm telling you, it's too late for him. It's already in the works. They've already picked JD Vance. He's already picked as the person to take on Trump. And you have Murdoch declaring war on him, which means that Murdoch is using all of his media to make JD Vance look like a president and make Trump look like a charlatan and a creep. And that is exactly what you're going to be seeing in the New York Post, and every magazine rag that's owned by Murdoch will be exposing what has happened with Epstein, because they are removing him. And it's, like I said, it's a concerted effort between the Republicans and the Democrats. Anybody want to talk about that? Is anybody surprised by these cards? It's sad, isn't it? You know what, the part that surprises me is just how much JD Vance doesn't want to be a president. I think that is the big surprise for me. You would think that he would be, yeah, you get to be the president. He's like, I don't want to be the president. Get me out of here. Oh my God, you guys are serious. It's like he really is the guy that in a way waltzed into this. Why did I think you were going to make me an actual? He's not totally cool with this, and I think that's really interesting to see. All right, Cambodia and Thailand. As many of you know, there's been tensions between Thailand and Cambodia for some time, some property disputes here. Cambodia is in no position to be fighting Thailand. They don't have the economic resources or the backing of the West. So I think it would be very foolish for Cambodia. The war will have to end. It's not a war that Cambodia can win. And furthermore, they're going to lose territory if they keep this up. You pissed off. What it's saying is that Cambodia really pissed off Thailand, and now Thailand may go ahead and create like a 2-mile no man's land, taking over more Cambodian territory because of what they did. They created a lot of problems. It's actually falling on Cambodia that it's Thailand that will react aggressively, and Thailand doesn't have. I think that if I were Cambodia, I would do what I could to end this, because it will, if they don't, it will go very bad. Cambodia could wind up occupied. I'll be honest with you. Yeah. That is crazy. They can either withdraw and make nice or face horrible consequences. More than likely, Cambodia will back off in order to appease, but Thailand could take additional land just as a buffer. It doesn't look good. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know a lot about it. I just know how the energies of the royal family in Thailand and the military and how it felt to me is like, you made a mistake. We're going to go ahead and take half your country now. Like it felt like that when you looked at those cards. Will Cuba collapse soon due to their oil supply being cut off by Trump? Actions in Venezuela. Cuba. It's a new beginning in Cuba. Educational opportunities as well, knowledge, and new real estate opportunities as well. Walking away. Devastation and fighting. There are other countries that will invest in Cuba's economy in order to protect Cuba. And they will have to move in a different direction economically. That's what I think. Just because this is knowledge of new opportunities, schooling new opportunities, is the house of opposition, new beginnings are led to betrayals. Walking away from old ideas comes justice. A new contract happens, Knight of Wands with war or speedy aggressive action. This is the fire and wood horse. Wood horse gives birth to fire horse. Wood feeds fire. That's why 12 years ago we were in a wood horse. Wood horse gives birth to the next. In 12 years, you'll have the fire horse. Fire makes clay. You make clay from fire. So in another 12 years, the fire horse emerges as the earth and clay horse. And then the earth gives birth to metal. You have a metal horse, and then metal gives birth to water, and that's how it works. So this aggressive energy feels to me like it resolves in them moving in a different direction and a new series of allies helping them economically. So that'll be really interesting to see. So not a complete devastation for Cuba, but new economic opportunities. I want to just check really quickly on Putin because I know people are a little bit worried about Putin's bombings, and I just want to check on him. I think it's inevitable that they will take him out because he creates too much stress for everybody else, and he's an existential threat. Just like they're removing Trump, they'll be removing Putin. Trump and Putin, justice. Ten of Swords, no. Putin will be abandoned by Trump. Trump has no power. It was, according to the Akashic field, it was a decision that was made by the powers that be. And so from Putin's perspective, he feels betrayed because you have this Justice Department or not the Justice Department, but the justice or the legal system over Trump leads to a betrayal of Putin, hopes and fears aid, and then Putin is abandoned. So Putin will be abandoned by Trump. It's not going. The powers that be will not allow Trump to support Putin. Ugh. Jeez Louise. I really question Trump's mental health. Inverted King of Cups. He's cuckoo barrels. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Dirty Family Secrets and Legacy. Hopes and Fears, the King of Wands. And final outcome is Four of Cups. No deal. The only solution is to march on Moscow. There is, I've gone through this so many times. I don't want it to be true, but the only resolution is to remove Putin, and we may see NATO marching on Moscow because it's the only way this nightmare is going to end. We knew that 5 years ago. Enforcer is reporting that new U.S. hypersonic Dark Eagle missiles are going to Europe and Ukraine. Good, because there's no deal here based on Akashic field. Happy New Year to you. All right, let's move down to some other questions here. Web Shiva, hi, my love. Will there be political or criminal repercussions for Mike Johnson holding back the Epstein files? I think so. I think we're looking at things ending pretty bad for a lot of people, don't you? Yeah. Oof. God, these cards are terrible. These cards are awful. God, these cards are just terrible. Mike Johnson is terrible. Inverted Knight of Cups. You know what? That's a false seducer. Smooth operator. He was a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Yeah, the inverted Knight of Cups. Don't you let that boy come. He is not coming to my house. No way, no how. Hopes and fears, complete confusion. And the final outcome is an Ace of Wands. You know what? I'm telling you, it's looking bad because the consequences of this are that we could see rebellion and fighting between Mike Johnson and his own house. Mm-hmm. Ace of Wands is war. His opposition, Uriel, is a need for change. People are walking out on him. People are quitting Congress. Hey, before you go, screw off. The GOP is resigning. Right? So, inverted Knight of Cups, that's bad news. That's a false seducer. He has lost the narrative. He has lost the narrative with his own people, and it will not end well for him. Yeah. What do you think? Pretty crazy, huh? All right. Well, I thought it might be fun if before we close today, we did a little singing. I've been playing my guitar. I was working on that song Farewell, and it was so hard to sing that song from uh, Fairport Convention that I never felt like I got it right, and I kept trying to do it in a million different ways. And so I thought, for those of you, since we are closing up, we've been here for about an hour, 45 minutes. I thought I would sing a couple songs for you all. I'm getting back into my singing. And yeah, so we will close out today with a couple of songs. I think I will be performing for you Farewell by Fairport Convention. And then I think we'll also do The Parting Glass. Would you all like to hear The Parting Glass? I hope I get that in the right key. Whimsy's Variety Show. All right. Got to warm up. Great to have you here. Great to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. Farewell, farewell to you, dear. You lonely travelers all. again. The winding road does call. And will you never return to see your bruised and beaten son? Oh, I would, if welcome I were. They love me, everyone. And will you never return to see? And will you never cut the cloth or drink the light to be? I'll swear a year to one who lies. Oh, sorry, I'm getting lost here. I feel like I want to start all over again. Can we start again? I'm sorry, I'm getting lost here. Sorry. Farewell, farewell to you here, you lonely travelers all. Cold north wind blow again. The winding road does call. And will you never return to see your bruised and beaten son? Oh, I would if I were. They love me, everyone. And will you never cut the cloth or drink the light be? Oh, can you never swear a year to anyone but we? No, I would never cut the cloth or drink the light be. I'll swear a year to one who lies asleep alongside of me. Farewell, farewell to you who'd hear, you lonely travelers all. Cold north wind blow again. The winding road does call. Thank you. Thank you for letting me fix the imperfection. Wow. So good to see you all here. I get lonely when you're not around. Trying to get the right key here. Yeah, what would happen if I sang it? All the money that I have, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, joy be with you all. Good night, and joy be with you all. Oh, comrades that I've had, I'm sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that I've had, but wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls upon my lot that I should rise, you should not. I'll gently rise, I'll softly call. Good night, and joy be with you all. Good night, and joy be with you all. All right. Thank you, everyone who stayed to listen to the music. It means a lot to me. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me and you'd like to take a look at your tarot for 2026, I would love to give you a reading. Also give you a medical intuitive reading if you need that. I have all that information below, or you can just find me through Booksy. All right, everyone, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.